Neat.
I love when they tell us that they're
I know, at
what's going
least
on.
somebody says something, right?
Lzzy, how's it going? I'm super stoked about this new song that you got. Can you see me in the dark? I've been like, there are not very few, but there's not a lot of times where I get one single song and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna listen to this for like all day. Usually I'm an album based person, but this song just like ticks every box. Tell me
Oh,
about, like, what was it like putting this song together?
oh my goodness. It was kind of maddening. Not in a bad way, but it was a strange concept because we had decided, well, let me kind of go back a little bit. We first my us as Halestorm and I Prevail. I think we played together years and years ago in Iowa somewhere and got to catch each other's sets. And then we were both kind of like from afar being like admirers. And then I just had this conversation with Eric the other day, about listening to each other on the radio, where there would be a point in time where every time our ears perked up, either we're on the road or I'm in the car and be like, what is that? Oh, that's I Prevail again. We should go out with those guys. So then we saw them again in Europe, in Belgium. We played this festival with each other, which I'm a lead singer, so someone else is going to have to look up what festival that was. But I'm okay with admitting my shortcomings here when it comes to scheduling, but dates and stuff. But we hung out and we kind of left with these like, just like instant connection. And we had so much to talk about. It was very soul filling, our conversations. And we kind of left it. We had to go on a plane and everybody was like leaving and we kind of said, hey, let's tour. And you know what? Honestly, like let's get together and write something because I love, your approach to lyrics and your message and everything that you guys say. So we left it at that. And then lo and behold, we both, it was weird because we both had thought of each other around the same time. We're both in a very rare position where we're like our schedules are like, wait, it's aligning. We can actually do this now. So when we decided to do the tour, we kind of threw it out there. We're like, hey, what if we collaborate on a song and make this so much more than just we're going to go out on tour together and hitch our wagons together and do some sets. So it was quite the feat to do because the beautiful thing about it is that we are two different subgenres of the grand spectrum of hard rock, and so we both do things differently. And so they sent us this track, was just kind of like an instrumental with like this salsa beat, which I keep saying salsa. I feel so bad because I'm not saying that in a negative way, but it was like a salsa beat
Sure.
and some synth and keyboard and all that. And we actually right here, the boys and I wrote like three different songs to the track, sent those in. And then sent those to the boys, be like, hey, we did some stuff to your track. And then they put some like other things on it, looped it back, and then I, sat with Tyler, their producer, and Eric and Steve and everybody, and we kind of Frankensteined all of my weird gibberish and lyrics because I had a couple different subjects and and a couple different titles, and one of them was "Can You See Me in the Dark?" And then, well, we love that one the best. Like, okay, let's do it. So it took a little while to go back and forth and do it kind of remotely like that, but then I ended up visiting Tyler Smythe, who has done who has produced all the I Prevail records. And he's like, well, why don't you come to LA? We'll just do it in my studio because I have a bunch of stuff here. So myself and I went down there, and then Joe went down there to add his parts. And so it's literally, it's everybody in the band of my band and their band involved in this track. So the wonderful thing about that is that I'm listening to the track now and I'm hearing all of us and I'm hearing these two worlds colliding and us kind of proving that there are no rules. There never really was. And everybody can just be themselves and help each other out. And then it became this kind of bigger thing where now we get to play this for our fans and be like, look, this is our sanctuary. This is our place where my super fans, your super fans, which we all stalk them, by the way. We know who all of you are, and we can't wait for you all to meet each other. So
Amazing. I That was going to be my question, was is it everyone playing? Because you do hear a little bit of the Hailstorm, the driving guitars of that, the synth from I Prevail. But you all, like, you sing, obviously, that's what you do, but you also play guitar. And so did when I Prevail plays guitar, they play in like drop A. Like it's
Yeah.
like super, super down tuned. Did you have to like learn how to play in like a really baritone type of guitar or what?
Not really. I mean, we've in our grand scheme of things, so we're very moment based as a band, as in like what's going to be the best to serve the moment in the song, not even necessarily like anything else. And so we have so, like for instance, I Get Off and Freak Like Me are both in drop B. Uh, two of our other songs, Back from the Dead and Steepler, in drop C. We have, we have drop C sharp, we have drop D, we have standard, we
You're
have
all
down
over the
half
place.
step standard. Yeah, so we always do that stuff, and really to my detriment because I'm like, yeah, I can do anything, and then you get out there like that's a little high or a little low. But so I've had to kind of come in afterward because the guys trust me. Well, the guys trust me with that, but they don't always like mention it in the beginning. Like, is it going to be good for you? Because I'm always like, I can do anything. It's fine. But so it wasn't that difficult of a transition. And what I love about what I Prevail brought out of me, personally, was this different mood. I had to approach this song with something else than what I would, in a more just a little outside of my comfort zone, and so and we did a lot of stuff to my vocals, and which I don't do a whole lot of effects and things like that on my vocals, but the great thing is that I was able to be super melodic, but then I had the freedom to kind of dig in a little harder, match some screams, do those things. So it was a lot of fun. There was a lot of freedom to it. And when I was talking to Eric from I Prevail, he thought the same way because this song is going on neither one of our records. This was something we could just kind of freeform and do, just do for ourselves and also do for our fans. And now the next big challenge is figuring out where we're going to put it in our collective sets, because this is a co-headlining tour. So there's some shows that they're going to be ending and some shows that we're going to be ending the night. And we're trying to figure out where to put this song because we all want to do it together. And that is like a sound guy's nightmare. We're getting a lot of pushback from that. So we're gonna have to see what's happening. We're just gonna wing it, I think. But it's gonna be fun. Yeah.
That was another question. You're like reading my note sheet if you can stop,
I'm
you know?
reading your mind. It's been
um,
a long time since we've seen each other face to face, but we're
right.
still
We still got it. We still got it. So let's talk about Hailstorm right now, because you guys have been in studio. You're working on some things. Where are we at with that? Are we going to get, a little taste of new just Hailstorm music within the tour that kicks off in July?
I'm going to say probably, but
Hmm.
I will warn you, we're a little sneaky about that. So like we're not necessarily going to be like, hey, here's a new song. But there are some things that we're really excited about. We've been in the studio with Dave Cobb for some time now, and it's been different this time. It's been very sporadic. It isn't like we mapped out like 8 weeks of time and we're going to get a record done. We started going to him. First, it was 3 days to test him out, and we wrote a song together from scratch. And that was like everyone was like, "Wait, what is this?" And then we went back. We went out on tour. We came back, had another session with him for about 2 weeks, and then we had another one for 3 weeks. It keeps getting a little more, and so we have one more session fully booked for August after this tour to kind of finish up everything. But it's really exciting. It's very the process has been very like ADD, which I really love, because all of us are a little touched by if anybody has noticed over the years. But it was a great challenge because this is Dave Cobb. So he's worked with, Rival Sons and Airborne, but that's like, the rock world that he's in. He's made most of his name from Brandy Carlisle and Chris Stapleton and Jason Isbell, whom I love, all three of those artists so much. So the craziest thing was that we got a lot of pushback, right? So we were saying, oh, wouldn't it be cool to do a record with Dave Cobb? Because that would be something that nobody would really expect from us. And I bet you he would come up with some crazy ideas. Don't know the guy, but let's figure it out. And everybody on our team was like, no, no, he's too busy. That's not you. He's got this stuff going. He's got like 9 Grammys with Chris Stapleton. Like, that's not your scene. And so we kept pushing back. We're like, no, 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 just ask him. Does anybody have his number? Just ask him. We can handle rejection, but just ask him. And so finally, like our A&R guy at our label was like, fine, I'll reach out. Whatever, just stop bugging me. And and so he reached out and then he called me like the next day. He's like, hey, I heard back from Dave Cobb. And guess what? Not only does he absolutely know who you are, but he's been wanting to make a record with you for like 7 years, and he has a plan already as how he wants to do it. And we're like, what? This is sick. So anyway, we went to go test the waters, and we go into the studio. And look, I write every day. I have, when I die, there's going to be so much that everyone has to sift through, like just gibberish songs, all that stuff. So I always have like a bank with me. Like here's riffs, here's songs, here's subject titles, here's poetry. And he was like, no, 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 we're not going to do anything that you already have. Nothing. I'm like,
Oh.
what? What are we doing? And he's like, no, we're just gonna start. Like everyone sit in a circle and we're like gonna kumbaya. So everyone like got an instrument. Like, all right. So what are we feeling today? I'm like, is this a therapy session? And so we ended up. It's crazy because then we'll like grab onto something because of that pressure of like, well, I don't know what about. I was thinking about this. This is happening. Cool, let's go there. And like, so he has these amazing instincts that are very like you can't see it when you're in it. And then as soon as we start like putting stuff together, you kind of zoom out and you're like, oh, wait a minute. This is so wild and awesome and exactly what we do. So it's very strange. But we're all very free. And then the other thing is that while we're recording it, I'm sorry, while we're writing it, we're recording it at the same time. So these tracks are like us discovering the song for the first time as well as we're performing them. There's some things that we're performing them all at the same time. There's one track in particular that we completely forgot to put the click track on. And we did like 3 takes like that. And then we're like, oh, wait, we don't even have a click going. Like RJ said something like, were we supposed to have like a click track so we all like are on time together? And everyone's like, we didn't even notice it was gone. And so we did another take with the click, and we're like, no, we like that other one better. So there's like stuff like that, a lot of weird surprises. There's a lot of space, and we're really excited because it is, this isn't like we're not going country or anything like that or Americana. Like this is such a new. It's got so much teeth, and it's so different than what we just did with Back from the Dead, but in this almost weightier, heavier way. And the lyrics I'm tackling subjects I've never tackled before because I'm having the freedom to do so. So I'm very excited. And that was my TED talk.
I was just going to ask because the last time that we had chatted, you had just gotten into a new record deal where you're able to get more freedom and write more, from yourself. And now, like being able to push the label around, it's like that's some boss shit, if
Yeah, we've had an awesome relationship with Atlantic, and we've been fairly everyone's been fairly like loyal, like stuck together since probably '05. And throughout the years we've proven ourselves, and we've also gotten to the point where we can amend certain things and adjust as we go. But it's really wild because I remember coming to the label for the first time and feeling so new and like everything's shiny and oh my God, I'm in an office and here's all these records on the wall. And it's wild to have a relationship with these guys where now it's like when I go visit, it's like, oh, it's my records up on the wall and they're, courting some young band or something like that or some young artist. It's really neat. And it's also wild because I've been having a lot of those moments lately in the past couple of years. I've evolved to a point where you're able to see the map. You're able to see where it could have gone so easily the other way. We would have never been here. This is so impossible, to think about when you're just starting as a band. Like everything's new. You have no connection to the music business. You have no money. You got like $20 to your name, and trying to make it happen. And so I'm so grateful for the team that has stuck with me, but also even everybody outside of that, the people from Pennsylvania and Jersey and people like you, Decker, who for some reason haven't forgotten about me after all these years and still are willing to hear me ramble. I mean, it's no small feat, and it takes a village to break a band. So it's just wild. I keep thinking about I keep feeling like my 13-year-old self all over again, but with this kind of new light, like kind of nudging her and be like, can you believe this shit? It's really nuts how that we're still here and doing it. So
I think that's an amazing ability, because I think there's some people that aren't able to look at like where you're at, and like there's a lot of people, and you probably still have that drive of like we could still do more, we could do more, obviously that's
Yeah.
why you're doing more. But to be able to take that breath and be like, you know what, like I had to do this the other day. 15-year-old me, I'm talking on the radio. I talked to Morgan Lander of Kitty yesterday, and like that was so cool, right? Like, but I remember hearing them on the radio for the first time, and now I'm playing new stuff from them on the radio. Absolutely nuts.
It's
Um,
so
so just like being able to reflect and then move forward in a positive way is it's empowering, and it's so refreshing to see within the industry.
Yeah. And, I think something that I keep thinking about too is that it's not about the goal. It's not about we got signed. It's not about we have a Grammy. It's not about, oh, we're going on this tour. It's not about, hey, they put me in this feature, because those little moments are super quick. It's like, okay, we did it. What's next? The biggest deal is really like trying to like not to quote Flaming Lips for whatever reason here, but all we have is now. And if we don't stop and say, whoa, this is nuts. And I mean, the guys are coming over again tonight. We're all, my brother is 37. I just turned 40. So is Josh. And like we're all in this like weird like midlife together. And we are laughing at like fart jokes down here. It's like we're still perpetually 15. And for some weird reason, we still need each other and we still like each other too. And so really taking the time to be like, this is what we have. And this is all that really matters. The next thing, yeah, you know what? We probably will execute it because we know how and we can do it together. But those little shiny moments are like, that was great, guys. We did it. All right, now what's next? It's like, what's the next goal? So it's very cool, and it's not lost on me how rare that is.
And as like, not to, for lack of a better term, the elder statesman within the music industry now, you've been around for many, well, quite a
Isn't
few
that
years.
cool to be
It
able to
is
like
cool.
say that? I keep thinking about that because I just turned 40, and that number was a big deal for me because I didn't feel as freaked out about it as I was in my 30s. In my 30s, I was like, when I turned 30, I was like, I should have it all figured out by now. I've lived through my 20s. I'm past my rock star death year. What's happening?
Right.
You know, and I made it through. And yeah, to be able to say that and be able to say that like, oh, I'm a lifer and I've survived some stuff. It's like it's kind of like being one of those where it's like I've been through some battles, I've made it through, I got some scars, but still here to tell the tales. And how wild.
Well, how do we pass that on to the up and coming? Like, what bands are you seeing that you're like,
Mm.
man, I right here's a wing. I want to put them right underneath it and
Oh
take
my
them along
gosh.
with me.
I mean, there's so many. I mean, they don't need my help at all. But there's the Warning, and I love the Plush Girls, and even just specifically, I love Amel and the Sniffers. I'm obsessed with right now. Um, there's a young band called the Dead Deads, and they're not doing a whole lot right now, but I still love them. And little Gracie, who's who's shredding right now. Sophie Lloyd, who's doing their thing. I think that there's so much out there. There's this young artist named Mothika that we took out in Europe, and she's amazing too. I think that the the biggest thing I'd say to anybody coming up now is that don't put all of your weight on people's opinions on you, of your music, of anybody's opinions of you. It doesn't matter whether they're good or bad. If people love you, great. If people hate you, great. It doesn't matter. I think that's the biggest thing because, you know, I think that a lot of these young artists, they're losing this essential part because they're getting signed off of TikTok or right out of their living rooms, right out of their bedroom. And they're losing this very integral part of your journey where you are having to do it in front of actual people and having to meet people and having to figure out like where do you feel comfortable in this in fronting a band or in writing your songs, where are you in it? Because the problem is you get ripped from this kind of womb-like state, and then you're like, here, go play at Wembley in front of 80,000 people and figure it out. And it's like I feel very grateful for the time that I grew up because we had to flyer, we had to literally beg our way onto tours, do the thing. And so by the time we ended up getting signed and getting a push out into the world, at least we had some semblance of who we are. I think it's very important because that's going to save you in the end. Because for me, there's so much we talk about this all the time as a band. There's so much that we came up against that was ridiculous. Like things like, oh, I mean, not to like shine a light on the fact that I'm a girl, but like there was a lot of that in the beginning where, oh, we've already got one on our radio station, or oh, we can't sign a girl from a band because that's not really a thing right now. We don't know what to do with you. And if I had just come from I'm writing my little songs in my bedroom to that immediately, I'd be like, oh my God, I'm not worth anything. I don't belong here. Whereas when I was up against that, I had some semblance of self. So I was able to say, well, that's ridiculous. I'm going to do it anyway, and I have these guys around me that fully support me and love me. And I know my self-worth. And now, I'm not saying everything's been perfect. I've lost myself along the way as well. It's hard not to, but at least I had kind of a foundation to break myself out of it, and I had some control over that. Even when I didn't have any control over anything, I felt like I had that. And so I think that's more important. I mean, I can talk about, you know, read your contract and all of the business stuff in the world, but make sure you get someone to look over your stuff, because we did all that too. We signed a lot of weird deals when we were kids because we couldn't read the gibberish. But that's not even so much important as you keeping yourself intact and taking care of yourself, and yes, do the hustle, do everything you possibly can, but remember to say no when it's important to say no. Follow your gut with that too, because as you say, you're going to think at first that you're being selfish and you're going to say no to this thing. And, oh, but what if it could have been? But if you really feel like I don't want to do that, don't do it, because then you leave that spot open for something else, something that maybe that you really want to do, or something that would otherwise just, oh, now that's filled up. It can't, you can't receive it, that the good stuff now. So yeah, I don't know, it's a lot of stuff like that, and also give yourself permission to be flawed. Nobody has it figured out. The two biggest secrets of the business: there are no actual rules, by the way. No rules. People like to say there's these invisible fences. They don't exist. And also, nobody actually has a plan or knows what they're doing. I've talked from everybody from the guy playing the coffee houses down the street to Glenn Hughes from Deep Purple and Alice Cooper, and nobody's got it figured out. Nobody has a clue. All we're doing is trying to chase the magic and make a moment happen and have some connections with some other people. That's it. So, and it's fun too. Hopefully it's fun for you.
It's supposed to be fun. I think that's
It
what
is
they say.
supposed to be fun.
Lzzy, I love talking to you. I'm always inspired after we have a chat.
Oh,
So
likewise, darling.
oh, thank you.
It's just it's a family hang at this point. We
Right.
could we can do this over coffee sometime. You should actually, next time you're in Nashville, you should come and see my place. I just got it renovated, and I'm by a lake, and we could have some
Ooh,
coffee.
that
Have a
sounds wonderful. I would love that. Lzzy, thank you so much for chatting about the yet to be named album, which I won't even ask you
yes,
what it's called because I know you're not supposed to say it, but I'm very excited. And
thank you.
and it's gonna be wild, dark, and you're gonna be out on the road with I Prevail. It's gonna be sweet. Super stoked.
I'm so excited. I can't wait to see everybody there, and it's so wonderful to get to talk to you again. Seriously. And you owe me some hugs though. We owe like at least 7 years of hugs or something.
Thereabouts, yeah. Yeah.
More. Yeah.